All right, welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive.
Yes, welcome back.
Today, we're looking at something a little different,
Mm.
something that I don't think many people have thought of before,
Yeah, definitely outside the box for sure.
and that is using whiskey in cooking.
Right. Right?
So most of us, I think, when we think of whiskey, we think of, pouring a dram and enjoying it.
Yeah, sipping it neat or on the rocks or in a nice cocktail.
Exactly, but not necessarily putting it in with our, pasta sauce or something like that.
No, not usually the first ingredient that comes to mind when you're cooking dinner.
But that's exactly what we're talking about today, and our source for this is a section from the cookbook Mad Med Promiller.
Oh, interesting title.
Yeah, which translates to food with alcohol percentage.
Catchy.
I know, right? It's by Jan Ohrt, who is a Danish whiskey expert, and he's also a food enthusiast. So,
Okay, good combination.
yeah, so we're going to be talking about how to use whiskey in your cooking in all sorts of different ways.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm excited to learn more about this.
Me too. And one of the things that I found really interesting is that, whiskey has this really long and rich history, but using it in food is actually a surprisingly recent thing.
Yeah, that is kind of surprising when you think about it.
Right. So to understand why that is, we kind of need to go back in time a little bit, give a little bit of a history lesson.
All right, let's go back in time.
So Jan Ohrt takes us all the way back to ancient Mesopotamia. We're talking like 4,000 years ago,
Wow.
where distillation first emerged. But here's the thing. It wasn't for alcohol at all back then.
Oh, really? What were they using it for?
Well, they were using it to extract aromas. So probably for things like perfumes or incense,
Oh, wow. So like a whiskey-scented perfume.
I know, right? Can you imagine? I don't know if that'd be a bestseller today.
Maybe not, but hey, it's a thought.
Right. So then fast forward a couple of thousand years, we have the Greeks who figure out how to distill fresh water from seawater.
Ah, now that's a game changer.
Right. That's huge, and that really paved the way for distillation to be used for all sorts of things, including eventually the production of alcohol.
Which brings us a little closer to our topic of whiskey.
Yes, exactly. So speaking of alcohol, this is where whiskey comes into the picture. And it likely first appeared, although there's some debate about this, in either Ireland or Scotland.
Ah, is the age-old debate.
I know, right? And considering, whiskey's relatively recent compared to distillation in general.
True.
The first written mention of whiskey that Jan Ohrt talks about didn't happen until 1405 in Ireland.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And apparently there was a clan member who died from overindulging in aqua vitae, which is what they called whiskey back then.
Yikes. Guess they didn't have responsible drinking campaigns back then.
No, they did not. So
Huh?
I guess what they were doing back then was just drinking it straight from the still.
Straight from the still? Wow.
And sometimes with like honey or herbs added to it.
Oh, interesting. So maybe they were onto something even back then without realizing it.
Right. Like maybe they were hinting at whiskey's culinary potential all those centuries ago.
Yeah, maybe, but I think it's more likely that those additions were just to make that strong spirit a bit more palatable.
Right. I mean, it makes sense. But it is interesting that whiskey didn't catch on as a cooking ingredient back then.
You would think it would have happened sooner.
I know, right? So Jan Ohrt actually suggests that maybe the reason for that is because they started aging whiskey in barrels.
Oh, that's an interesting theory.
Yeah, and that was maybe inspired by sailors who were storing rum in barrels.
That makes sense.
Right. So that aging process really transformed the flavor profile of whiskey and made it more than just, that potent firewater.
Yeah. Barrel aging brought out those complex flavors and aromas that make whiskey so appealing, both for drinking and, as we're finding out, for cooking.
Exactly. And speaking of cooking with whiskey, one of the first documented attempts at this was actually in the late 1980s at Pennsylvania State University.
Oh, really? What happened there?
They hosted a whiskey dinner, but it was more like a scientific experiment than a gastronomic adventure.
Interesting. So even then, people were starting to think about the possibilities of whiskey in cuisine.
Yeah, and from there it seems like things really started to take off. And one place that is a surprising hotspot for whiskey and food pairing is Belgium.
Belgium. Now, that's not the first place that comes to mind.
I know, right? But there are tons of Belgian whiskey clubs, and they're all about pushing the boundaries of what whiskey can do in the kitchen.
Wow. So they're really experimenting with whiskey over there.
Yeah, and one of the leading figures in this movement is Bob Minikier, who is a whiskey expert. And he's developed this really unique approach.
Oh, tell me about it.
So he focuses on choosing the right type of whiskey for a dish, and then carefully removing the alcohol while preserving the flavor.
Wow, that sounds like a delicate process.
It is. It's like alchemy almost.
Yeah, I bet it takes a lot of skill to get that right.
Definitely. And Minicure has some pretty inventive techniques like injecting whiskey into meat or fish using a syringe.
Injecting it with a syringe. That's wild.
I know, right? You have to see it to believe it.
I can only imagine. And this led him to create a whole cookbook.
Yeah. So this innovation led him to collaborate with a group of chefs, and they created an entire cookbook called Whisky a la carte.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, and it really shows how much interest there is in whiskey as a culinary ingredient.
Absolutely. But let's get back to Jan Ohrt and his perspective. What's his take on cooking with whiskey? So Jan Ohrt, in his cookbook, he really dives into like the nuances of cooking with whiskey.
Yeah.
You know, he emphasizes that it's not just like adding a splash here and there.
Right.
It's really understanding the different types of whiskey and how those unique flavor profiles that they have can really enhance the dish that you're making.
And what really struck me was how versatile he makes it sound.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're not limited to just like sauces or desserts.
Okay.
He suggests using whiskey to like marinate meats,
Oh, wow.
you know, and adding this smoky depth to the flavor.
Like giving your steak a pre-party soak before grilling.
I like that. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
And he doesn't stop there. He talks about like brines,
Okay.
like a whiskey brine chicken or turkey.
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, come on.
I'm picturing a Thanksgiving turkey brined in like a blend of bourbon and maple syrup.
Right.
Talk about a showstopper.
Yeah. So, okay, back to Jan Ohrt.
Yeah.
He breaks down the different types of whiskey,
Right.
you know, going beyond just like a generic label.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, he suggests lighter whiskeys, like Irish blends for delicate dishes,
Okay.
like seafood or creamy sauces,
That makes sense.
right? Because they would lend that subtle sweetness and spice without overpowering the other flavors.
Yeah.
But then for like heartier fare, you know, like game meats or rich stews,
Yeah.
he recommends those bold, smoky, iley whiskeys.
Okay, the peaty ones.
Exactly, the ones that use peat-smoked barley in the malting process.
Right.
So it's all about matching the intensity of the whiskey to the richness of the dish.
Yeah, kind of like how you wouldn't pair a delicate white wine with a robust steak.
Yeah.
Right. You need something that can stand up to those flavors.
And he even talks about using whiskey in baking,
Oh, and baking.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued now.
like a splash of bourbon in pecan pie,
Oh, wow.
or a touch of scotch in shortbread cookies.
Interesting.
So it adds that warmth and complexity to sweet treats, too.
Yeah, it does seem like whiskey could bridge that savory and sweet world pretty seamlessly.
Right. And one thing that I found really helpful was he suggests reducing whiskey before adding it to a dish.
Oh, that's a good tip.
So you're concentrating the flavor and also burning off some of the alcohol.
Right.
So you're making sure that the whiskey's essence shines through without it tasting like you just poured a shot of whiskey into your food.
Exactly. You want the flavor, but not the overpowering alcohol burn.
Right. So we've talked about the how of cooking with whiskey, but why even bother?
Yeah, that's the big question.
What does this seemingly unexpected ingredient bring to the table that we can't get from anything else?
Right.
I mean, why whiskey?
Well, Jan Ohrt argues that it adds a unique depth and complexity to a dish.
It's an extra layer of flavor that you just can't replicate with other ingredients.
It's like it unlocks a secret dimension of flavor in the ingredients.
Yeah, and he talks about how it enhances those natural flavors, too.
Right.
So it's not about masking anything.
Yeah.
It's about making them shine even brighter.
Okay, so I'm sold. I want to try this at home.
Yeah.
Does he give any guidance for a complete novice like me?
He does. He stresses that cooking with whiskey is all about experimentation and finding what works best for you. You know, play around with different types, see how different flavor combinations work, trust your own palate.
Okay.
And he even challenges us to think beyond traditional pairings.
Oh, yeah.
For example, he suggests experimenting with whiskey in Asian cuisine.
Interesting.
You know, using it to marinate meats for stir fries or adding a dash to a flavorful broth.
You know, I've actually had a ramen dish with a touch of scotch in the broth,
Oh, really?
and it was amazing.
Wow.
It added this subtle, smoky warmth that totally transformed the bowl. That's awesome. It's all about challenging ourselves to break free from what we think we know and embrace the unexpected.
Right.
It's exciting to see how whiskey can kind of break culinary boundaries.
And I'm starting to see, like, parallels between how we appreciate whiskey as a drink and as a culinary ingredient.
Oh, how so?
In both cases, you're savoring those nuances, you know, appreciating the complexity, and ultimately you're discovering what you like best.
Right. You're approaching whiskey with curiosity and an open mind,
Yeah,
whether you're sipping it neat or incorporating it into a culinary creation.
exactly.
And I think that's what makes it so fascinating.
You've convinced me.
Yeah.
I'm feeling inspired to start my own whiskey-infused culinary adventure.
I love it.
But before I go raiding my liquor cabinet, I want to hear your final thoughts.
Well, after this deep dive, I'm struck by the fact that cooking with whiskey could really represent a shift in how we perceive and appreciate this spirit.
Okay.
It's not just a drink to be enjoyed on its own anymore.
Right.
It's becoming an integral part of a holistic culinary experience.
And that's really cool, I think.
Yeah, and think about it. Whiskey pairings could become as commonplace as wine pairings.
Oh, wow.
It's definitely an exciting time to be a foodie and a whiskey enthusiast.
Whiskey pairings as common as wine pairings. I like where your head's at.
It might sound like a stretch, but,
Yeah.
think about how the culinary world has, embrace these other unexpected ingredients over the years.
Yeah.
Things that were once niche or even dismissed
Right.
are now mainstream,
Like what? Give me a give up.
like using seaweed beyond just sushi
Okay.
or, incorporating spices that were once considered exotic.
Right. Yeah.
And look at how mixology has just exploded in recent years.
It really has, yeah.
Cocktails are becoming as nuanced and complex as fine wines.
Yeah.
So why not whiskey pairings?
I'm already picturing tasting menus with each course paired with a different whiskey,
Yeah.
carefully chosen to enhance the flavors of the dish. That would be incredible.
And think about home cooks too.
Yeah.
We might start seeing whiskey-infused recipes become as common as, using wine or even beer.
Right. Instead of a classic beef bourguignon, it'll be like a whiskey bourguignon. Using a smoky scotch to add a new dimension to the dish.
I'm already getting hungry.
Me too.
Yeah.
But beyond just the recipes themselves,
Yeah.
this shift towards whiskey and cooking,
Right. Right.
it could also change how we view the spirit itself.
Absolutely.
It becomes less about just drinking it
Yeah.
and more about appreciating, its versatility and its potential as a culinary ingredient.
Yeah, it's almost like whiskey is graduating from the bar cart to the spice rack.
Right.
It's becoming something that you reach for not just when you want to drink, but when you want to elevate a dish or add a layer of complexity or just experiment with new flavors.
It's like unlocking this hidden talent in whiskey.
Yeah.
One that's been there all along, just waiting to be discovered.
And who knows what other culinary gems are out there?
Right.
Hidden in plain sight. Maybe tequila will have its moment in the kitchen next.
Tequila lime chicken.
Or even CK,
Oh, yeah, that would be interesting.
The possibilities are endless.
This has been incredible, I gotta admit.
Yeah.
I was a little skeptical about whiskey and food at first,
Yeah.
but you've completely changed my perspective.
I'm glad to hear that it's been a fascinating journey for me as well.
Me too.
I've always enjoyed whiskey, but exploring its culinary applications has given me a whole new appreciation for it.
Yeah, for sure. So what's the final takeaway for our listeners?
The final takeaway.
What do we want them to walk away with after this deep dive?
Don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah.
Whiskey might seem like an unusual ingredient,
Right.
but it really has the potential to transform your cooking in amazing ways.
So start by exploring different types of whiskey.
Yeah, from the smooth and subtle to the bold and smoky.
Exactly. And think about, the flavor profiles of your favorite dishes
Right.
and how different whiskeys might enhance them.
Don't be afraid to break the rules.
There's no one right way to cook with whiskey.
Trust your instincts.
Have fun and see where your culinary creativity takes you.
Who knows? You might just discover a hidden talent for cooking with whiskey that you never knew you had.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into the unexpected world of whiskey and food.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you enjoyed the journey as much as we have.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep those taste buds happy.